Hi, my name is P. Samuel, and I would like to share with you a story that I read in an article from last year in April 2021. The title of this article is The Pursuit of Education. It is a story of homelessness, perseverance, and the impact of caring educators. I would recommend you read it because I think you would find it interesting. This article shares a story of an 8-year-old who experienced homelessness, and life was not easy for her, especially because she had not been introduced to education due to the condition that her family was living in. She went through trauma, she went through depression at a very young age, and you would imagine that her interest in education was not a priority in her life. Her, together with her family, they constantly moved from place to place, seeking shelter, seeking help, because they could not afford living a better life. She lived in this situation for 16 years. They share a story of her at 8 years old, but at 16 years old, 8 years later, she still found herself in the same situation. And because she had grown, she was a grown up girl now. She had a clear understanding of how difficult her life is. And she started to live on her own because it was hard for the whole family, for her parents to provide for the entire family. They had separated. Not only was she suffering the effects of homelessness, but she also was separated from her family, which made it even harder for her. So she had to make a decision. Either she should work or she should go to school. But going to school meant having to pay tuition, of course. But she also thought, if I don't go to school and I work, I will have to work extra harder than the one who got educated. Work even double the amount of time compared to the one who got educated. So she lived with her sibling at some point, who was going to school, and that's how she got inspired to go to school. But because she had been traumatized, she went through depression. Learning for her was never easy. You can imagine, for a child who barely went to school, learning intensively as a teenager would have been harder for her to grasp everything that she's learning. And perhaps you may have gone through depression for you personally, and you know how hard it is to concentrate in school. Some children drop out because mental health is so important in everyone's life. And if your mental is affected, all other areas of your life is affected also. Years later, she reunited with her family, and you would expect that things got better, but they were not. But luckily, I'm not going to go into details. I would recommend you read it. I'm just going to jump to what happened next. So we find her going to school in high school, and surprisingly, luckily, you would say, she graduated from high school with a 4.1 GPA, which inspired her to even aim higher, to go even further with her education. Now she's hoping to become a social worker when she's done with college, so that she can be an advocate to those children who are going through homelessness and poverty. Poverty is inevitable, but it can be solved when people are intervened. These children, they should not lack education simply because they're going through this difficult times in their life, this difficult phase in their life. I know for their parents, they're not able to afford their children, and maybe the little income that they're making, they'll only prioritize it to use it to buy food, and education is the last thing they would think about. And we learn in this course's textbook the challenges of children's rights in Canada, that the parents who are living in poverty, they find it difficult to effectively parent their children, and investing in their child's education and health is least important to them because they don't have the resources. But what can we do for those of us who are in a better situation? We can intervene, provide these children. That's why you see there are people who are donating to help these children get a better education, to get these children whose parents are not capable to offer them the best parenting that they wish for their children to get. And we also learn from this in chapter 5 of this textbook of the rights of provision that got ratified in 1991, that the children raised in poverty, they find it so difficult. They find it so difficult to concentrate in school. They find it hard to prosper in academics because their cognitive health is affected. Not cognitive, let me be specific. Their executive function skills is impacted because they're not getting enough, proper food, proper the nutrients that would, help a child to grow, their cognitive health to improve. And because they have it difficult to they don't have that proper executive function, they're not able to self-regulate their behavior. They're not able to self-regulate their social behaviors. You see these children raised in poverty, they indulge in excessive drinking, they start smoking, they have a poor diet, and it's bad. So what are you and I going to do about it? Maybe that's the question that I'll have to leave for you. What are we doing? Because even though poverty is inevitable, homelessness is inevitable, right? But we can't let it happen. We can't let it continue. We can't let it get worse, right? We have to do something about it. So what are the things that you think regular, ordinary people, you and I, or the government would do to help eradicate this issue of homelessness and poverty that many families, not only in Canada, but also those in other countries? I hope it's going to be an engaging discussion, and I can't wait to hear all your amazing ideas. Thank you and have a wonderful day.